Hey, good buddies, welcome into the Good Buddies Anime Review. I am your good buddy, Roger.
And I am your good buddy, Brandon.
And this week we're talking about the first season of Mob Psycho 100.
Mob Psycho 100.
We're going to give you that review of recommendation as to whether or not, and we both did finish this one. We're all the way through.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited to talk about it, but the way that we do these reviews is we have some categories.
We have a scale.
Yeah, a scale.
We have a scale.
That there is another system that informs it, and point-wise, we'll give you where we set in the scale.
So, Roger, let me ask you something. If you watched you an anime,
Yep.
and you just didn't like it, you just hated it, what would you call that?
You know, I would say it's an anime, maybe not.
What if it was like, okay, it wasn't great, but it's not like the worst thing ever?
Anime.
All right, what if it was, it's average, it was fine. Nothing wrong
Probably
with
an
it.
anime, maybe, dude.
All right, well, yeah, pretty good, though. It's actually above average.
Most definitely, dude.
What if you saw one and it was awesome, Roger? It was damn near perfect. What would you call that?
I'll call that an animazing, boss.
Nice. And how we're going to get to those numbers is we're going to have us a little scale. 10 stars total, 2 stars in each of these 5 categories. That first category being Roger.
The story and setting.
What about the second category, Roger?
The characters in development.
And the third category, Roger.
The art and animation.
Roger, fourth
The
category.
soundtrack.
And finally, that fifth one, that Good Buddies Wiggle Room.
That je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi. Roger, what does that mean?
I don't know what.
I don't know what. But that's how we're going to do it. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about these things. We're going to give it some points. We're going to give you a final recommendation. And remember, as we said earlier, this is a review of recommendations. Not necessarily like how much we loved it, even though we're going to talk about how much we loved or hated it. But it's mostly, would we recommend it to someone else?
Right.
Do we think you should check this out?
Exactly.
So let's get on into it, baby boy. Do you want to give us a little quick pitch, or do you want me to take it? How do you want to do it?
Did you write anything down?
I got a little something.
Okay. If you wrote something down, dude, I'll let you read what you got.
All right, here's my quick picks. This is the starter. This is how we get into this one. Mob Psycho 100. It's the story of 8th grade student Shigeo Kageyama, who is an awkward but good-hearted
Who is
kid.
so nice.
He's such a nice boy with his little bowl cut. Who is again awkward, good-hearted. He also happens to be a very powerful psychic. He's an Esper, as they say, an ESPer, I guess. The anime follows his exploit as he dispels evil spirits with his master Regan, who is also a good-natured but also a con man. Who in his attempts to become popular, find love while also dealing with bullies and other Espers, all while keeping his emotions in check. As when they boil over, when he hits 100%. And there's a nice little scale to show you when his shit hits 100.
Yeah.
He loses
You got
it
that
and he can't
super
help
meter
it.
going on at the bottom there. They'll show you as your super meter goes up.
Yes, indeed. He is essentially an emotional ticking time bomb that happens to be godlike when he hits 100, and stuff goes crazy. It's a good time. And that's the quick pitch. Do you want to get into that story and setting, baby boy?
Let's get into it. So he is your average middle school boy. They call him Mob.
It's his nickname.
Shigeo is Mob, and that's
Mabu.
typically what you hear. Yeah, Mabu through most of the anime. And
I saw a thing that was saying that the translation of that is something like background character, which is pretty great.
Oh God.
Which really plays into like when we get into more of like the show and stuff. It really plays into his whole deal.
Yeah. So Mob is kind of inconspicuous. He's kind of, you don't really notice him. There's absolutely, even the way he's there's nothing
remarkable about this kid.
About him at all.
Absolutely unremarkable.
And that plays a lot into the story, is that he has these crazy powers, but he still views himself as nothing special at all. He's no more special than anybody else.
Very humble.
Yes, he is. He's a really sweet
Sit
boy.
down,
I
Mom.
love him.
Stay humble.
But he works for Reagan. And Reagan is a con man, kind of.
Bit of a con man. He's kind of he ultimately...
He has a special move for everything, and I love it.
He does have a special move for everything. I really love the character Regan, Reagan, how we pronounce it, because like his whole deal is that like he is... No doubt, he's a con man. He is convincing people that there are evil spirits or something. He is exorcising them. Even when he runs across real evil spirits, he's not even very good at that because he doesn't even have purified salt.
He calls
he's
it
throwing,
mob.
He's throwing like kosher salt as these things. But he is ultimately really helping people, either by helping them to relax and get their mind off of stuff, or just convincing them, no, that's not even real, blah, blah, blah.
And he is especially helpful to Mob.
Very much so.
He's very mentor-like. He parents this kid almost, he guides him in life, and he actually does give him some really, really good,
some very good
heartfelt
sage
lessons.
advice,
and he's he's a great character, but Mob works for him. Mob does all the heavy lifting. Now Mob, at least at this point in the first season, thinks that he is a psychic as well.
Yes.
And and he asked him. He'll even ask questions like, "Well, why didn't you sense that spirit?" And he's like,
It's too low level.
Too low level, too weak." And Mob's like, "You're amazing."
Yeah. It's great. He's always just like, "Oh, Master's so great."
At this point, it feels like Mob is a bit deceived by his psychic powers.
Yeah.
But overall, they have a really good relationship. Now, Mob goes to middle school.
Mm-hmm. And he goes to Salt Middle School, which is in Seasoning City, I believe it's called.
Yes.
This show's great.
It is great. And pretty early on, he is looking for a club to join in or something because he's looking. He wants girls to like him. He wants to be popular.
He wants to try and do something with his life without having to rely on his innate psychic abilities.
And that leads to all sorts of hijinks as well.
Yes, very much so.
And
he ends up like almost joining the telepathy club and blah blah blah. We're not gonna get spoilery.
Yeah,
and stuff. We're not gonna tell you all the stuff.
He actually joins another club, but
yes.
the telepathy club is still there.
Yeah, they exist.
And I actually like that he joined the other club more because it is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's great.
But and those characters are all great.
Yeah,
and I freaking love their hairdos.
It's amazing. Everything about this show is pretty rad.
Yes. So he joins the club, and throughout his daily life, he discovers there are more Espers in the town.
Indeed.
And as that progresses, we of course find an evil organization.
Yeah, you can't just have a bunch of people with powers without there being some kind of power-hungry, world-dominating trying to do thing.
Now, Mob does have a brother as well.
Yes.
Who he cares, it's a younger brother, and he cares a great deal about him. The brothers have a very good brotherly bond.
Yeah, they're really cute together. He's always there for him. Mob will very often, when they're eating dinner with his mom and dad, one of his little going things is that, bending spoons is a thing like psychics do. So he'll go to take a bite, and his spoon will just go whang and bend itself, and his mom's always like, "Oh, how many times I've told you to quit doing that?" And his brother always takes it, bends it back, hands it back to him like a good boy. They're very sweet.
Yes, and they got a great relationship, and his brother doesn't have any psychic powers.
He's mundane.
But he is smart, and he's
brilliant.
He's athletic.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's good
Mob
looking or whatever.
really
and
looks up to him.
Yeah, Mob looks up to him for that, which his brother in reverse looks up to Mob because Mob
he's got
has
powers.
these incredible powers.
Yeah.
And he's so humble about everything.
Yeah.
He's just a good guy.
Well, it's partially that he's humble. It's also that he is like fairly clueless. They point out like he doesn't really know how to read the room. He doesn't know what's going on most of the time.
Sure.
He's always a little just spaced out, even though he's like, paying attention or whatever. He just doesn't get it most of the time, which is part of his charm. It's a very charming character and a very charming show. Do you want to get to the characters in development?
I think that'll lead right into characters in development.
Yeah, man. So I just wrote down, Mob is great, very low key, first and foremost, just wants to be a good guy.
And he is, God, dude, he is it's so refreshing to see a character that's fucking innocent.
It's really hard to watch this and not love him, I think.
Yes,
like
it is.
I was immediately like, this is a cool guy.
Down to the damn bug cut that he's got on his head,
He does
man.
have a straight up bowl cut. He's got the man dark without the end.
He's so lovable. He's just so... He's not perfect, but he feels perfect.
He's just a simple boy.
If I don't know that I could ever meet somebody and take them seriously if they're like, yeah, I don't really like that character.
Wow. This is my dude's over here making character judgments on people.
He's so great, dude. He's a good character. He's innocent, but he's also fun. He's reserved. He's thoughtful. I love him, man. There's nothing special about him, but in the same sense, there's everything special about him.
Yeah. We also talked about Regan already. Great teacher, very good mentor, despite being, a fraud of a spiritualist. We have these other Espers that show up from the organization and from other characters. There's one in particular that ends up being a pretty big part of the story from another school. Yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
I will say, I was kind of bummed out that, none, and I mean, basically none of the female characters in the show do a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, really, there is.
It was a real bummer.
Yeah.
And there's also I'll also say there is one brown guy, and they kind of give him the gollywog treatment.
Oh no,
he's almost a Mr. Popo. He's not quite dark enough to be in Mr. Popo. That was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah. Well, this show, I mean, it's very stylistic, but I'm not going to defend that or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
just watching. I didn't really notice.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Which again, like that character I'm talking about is there for that long.
Okay.
Like it's you blink and you miss him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of whatever, but yeah, it felt a little weird. But I can't really hold that against it because the show overall is just very, very well done, and there's a lot of really great characters and a lot of really good development.
And once again, Reagan has those special moves, and God, that joke never gets freaking old.
No, he's got a special move for everything.
And they do it so much.
And it's like,
and you get a little like monologue for every move that he does, every special move.
It's really absurd. Like it's either like. It's always like very simple shit, like a punch or a drop kick or something.
Yeah.
It's like
this is one of Reagan's special moves,
and it like describes it. It's like, no, that's just a punch. Like, chill. It's absolutely absurd.
We talked about the brother a little bit, Ritsu. Once again, he's the younger brother. He's a 7th grade student. He's on the student council.
Mm-hmm. There's also like one character we haven't mentioned yet who can't talk too much about without getting spoiler, but he's kind of a sidekick. He's like a little spirit dude named Dimple. Yes.
Yes, I freaking
Dimple's
love
pretty rad.
Dimple.
He's the Slimer of this show. He's the
cross
Slimer
between Slimer and Pikachu.
Yes. Okay.
All the way, dude, down to the
red cheeks. Okay.
He is a cross between Slimer and Pikachu.
All right, weirdo.
Also, this is a side point, but a lot of the secondary characters you see, they're like what I would like to call Sean William Scott characters.
Oh no.
They got those very defined like butt-esque chins and and the dark stubble all around them. They look like Sean William Scott, dude. And it is freaking hilarious.
All right, man.
I laughed at so many things in the show that I'm not even sure I was supposed to be laughing at. I just really enjoyed it. But Dimple is a great character.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a turd.
Kind of a huge turd. He looks like a turd. He looks like a green turd.
Yeah. He has a goofy freaking look to him. But he's one of those characters who has ill intentions, but also not ill intentions.
Sure. He's kind of an anti-hero at the point.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk about that art and animation? Because I know you want to talk about that art and animation.
Yeah, let's talk about that art and animation.
Oh my God. Let me say, first of all, let me start with this one. This is created, same guy who did One Punch Man.
Mm-hmm.
So fairly simplistic. One Punch Man was like way more polished. This one, what's polished? Never heard of it.
Yeah,
what's polished?
Mob and Saitama, they both even like down to those eyes, the 90-degree rotated
They got that
eyes.
very, very plain face. In fact, they even make reference to that because I think in episode 1 or 2, he's like straight up reading a One Punch Man manga or something. Mm-hmm. It's great. But very simplistic styles, which I gotta say, it's easy to look at them and think, it's kind of boring. It's easy to look at these character designs and think, whatever. Like, if you take a single still frame, I could see how you could show that to someone and they'd be like, whatever.
Say, you have to see it in motion.
You really do. That's what I'm saying. Because the stuff they do in this show, stylistically, just watch the opening. Oh my God, it's beautiful.
Also, where One Punch Man has a whole lot of polish to it, it feels like in this one, the polish was converted to color.
Yes.
It is a very vibrant show.
Yes, there are bits where, in episode 1, there's a bit where Mob, like, straight up exercises a spirit or something for Reagan, and oh my God, the swirling, like, Lisa Frank-ass colors they pull off in that
like a lot of psychedelic
It's very
views,
trippy.
yes.
Yeah, it's like some LSD shit. No, I've never done acid. All right. But yeah, man, it's wild looking. And my personal favorite thing about it was, and you see this mostly in the ending, but also just during the show, they have a lot of these moments where they were going to this, it's like that oil paint on glass style where like you're just moving the stuff around. It's beautiful. It's very hard to describe without just seeing
squiggly.
Yeah, it's a little squiggly. It's kind of like if you've ever seen like someone like a painting and then like there's these things where people will do these things where like they'll have a painting and then they'll paint it a little bit different, take a picture, paint a little bit different, take a picture so it looks like it's animated. It's literally that. They're literally doing that, which is like this oil on glass thing, which looks freaking
looks really
rad.
cool.
It looks amazing.
This show has it's very stylish.
And the way they like marry those two styles. There's like one scene I can remember in particular where there's a couple who's gone to Reagan for something because they're like, oh, an evil spirit, and like they're both just sitting there like normal, regular, like goofy ass anime style that they have.
Yeah.
And then behind them, like this form, like in that weird ass oil painting style, just like comes up behind them, like
yeah, and
it's so cool.
It has this style. It's like a style that I really like. It's where nothing is particularly well drawn. If you look at any image in there, you can give a novice a pencil and they can probably recreate it fairly normal.
Yeah.
But it's intentional.
Yes.
And just the way that it progresses with that the intention of being that sketchy style, and the movement that they can make with it and the color usage, that it just gives it a super unique. You feel like you haven't seen something that looked like this before.
Yeah, man.
Style of animation, and I liked it. I liked it a ton.
It's really good stuff. Yeah, I was super into the art and animation on this one. Do you want to move on to the soundtrack?
Yeah, let's talk about that soundtrack. That opening song bumps.
It's amazing. It's called 99. It is performed by Mob Choir.
I love anything with a good count in it, and they go over the top with the count.
Yeah, man, it's freaking great. Like, it starts up, it's ripping. I wrote it down here as a hyped up bullet train that explodes right before hitting 100. It's freaking great.
Yeah.
Like they get to. Oh my god. It's
really good, and the visual of it is amazing.
Yeah, I don't like. This is one that
I can't even tell you everything that happens in it. I watched 12 episodes of this, and I cannot tell you every single thing that happens in that.
It's just wild, man. There's little bits of everything in there, and it's like one of those that like you can't skip it. How could you possibly? It's so cool.
Your foot is tapping and your eyes are bouncing.
Yeah, man.
They do it so well. It's really good. And I actually like the ending song as well, too.
The ending song was quite good.
Not as good as
Refrain
the
Boy,
opener, but yes, but it is a good song.
It's good stuff. It's very good stuff. I will point out that like the bits of music during the show, there's very few points I can remember hearing it, which I think is how it should be.
Yeah.
It should just flow on in. But there were little bits, particularly in the last couple episodes, I remember there being a couple bits.
Whenever
like,
you get in some of the good
like
fights.
some kind of goofy stuff. There was fight stuff. There was also bits where like, there's a bit where like just Reagan's talking or whatever, and it's kind of like a fun moment, and it's like got this nice little bouncy pop song. It's like, it's good stuff, man. It's very well done.
They do a thing in here too where sometimes the audio cuts to pure silence, and they do like, it's like the pause for comedic relief.
Yes.
The cut of sound for, somebody getting taken back to something, like freezing as they look onto somebody's shocking hair or something like that. It's really funny, and I thought it was very well done.
Yeah. I thought it was great, man. It's very well done.
If you guys can't tell, we like this anime.
It's quite good. Let's talk about that je ne sais quoi.
Let's talk about it. Do you want to go off first?
I would just say that it's very charming. It's hard to put down. It's a really good program. I gotta harken back to how I really, really, really wish they had done more with the female characters in this show.
Sure.
Because like, it's really hard for me to look at it and be like there's maybe 3 you could argue 4 character. Like, okay, there are 2 characters toward the end who are female, and they have their little moments. They have a couple moments, but then they are ultimately blown aside.
Yeah.
There are 3 other characters who even like do anything. One of whom is basically just like Mob's got a crush. Mm-hmm. And she essentially is just there, like, stay with me.
Yeah,
She's essentially just there for him to like look at. She turns and smiles. He blushes. That's like an end goal for him. She does have a little bit like in his backstory, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
Like she has a little moment there. But like then there's these other 2 characters who are purely reactionary. They don't really do anything on their own except
one's
when
a
he's
reporter
around.
And one's head of a club.
Yes, and it's like it was kind of a bummer, man. I wish there was more to them.
I'm actually hoping at least a reporter, because I actually liked her character quite a bit.
Her character was cool.
I'm hoping that she gets more in the second season.
It was like almost every scene with her after she's introduced, almost every scene of hers is like, so you gonna tell me about this thing? And Mob's just like, and like that's it. Mm-hmm. She doesn't get to do anything. It's kind of a bummer. But that said, I can't can't knock it. It's just a good show.
It is good.
It's just a very enjoyable program.
Yeah,
ultimately, it's a good show. Despite those things, which do bum me out, it's still very well done.
Yeah. I kind of just... I didn't know how I was going to feel about this whenever I was going into it. I mean, it had a lot of hype, and typically people don't let me down when they have a lot of hype about something.
Yeah.
But I was really fascinated with how engrossed in it I was. You know, and I watched my anime for the podcast late at night or whatever, and there were moments like where I was like, I am so tired, I don't want to do another episode, but I just couldn't stop watching.
Yeah.
I'd be falling asleep on the couch, and I would have to watch the episode ultimately again the next night.
Yeah, it's hard to put down.
Because you're just like, oh, I just want to truck a little further into it.
Yeah. I get that.
But overall, like, you know, the other thing, Mob is such a sweet character.
Yeah.
I liked him a whole lot. He might be one of my favorite anime characters that I've ever seen. But I also liked, you know, the characters that we did get. I felt like they got enough development that you knew who they were, and there was a bit of complexity to them that they managed to cram in the 12 episodes.
Yeah, man.
And at no point did anything ever really feel rushed. I will say that towards the end, when you get some of the fights, some of them do end quickly, but I think that is to show how high Mob's power is, how strong he really is.
Yeah, like that's one of them. The guy that like I was talking about that you barely remember, that's one of them. Just not even a thing.
Okay.
It's wild, man. But yeah, I'm with you, man. It's ultimately I really enjoy it. It's hard to say it's not great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Let's go ahead and hop into them scores.
Let's hit them final scores, baby. So what did you give it for story and setting?
I gave it a 1.5.
I gave it 2. I really like it. The idea that this guy is like just a straight up ticking time bomb, it was super cool. Characters and development.
Oh, I gave it a 1.5.
I also gave it a 1.5. Art and animation.
I gave it a 1.5.
I gave it a 2 there.
You gave it full 2?
Full 2. I loved it.
I liked it a lot. And actually, it is a style that really catches my eye. It just... Compared to some of the things that I've given a 2 to, I didn't think it was quite that level, but it is very good.
Yeah, it's so unique. I couldn't do it any less. How about the soundtrack?
I give it a 1.5.
Also a 1.5 from me. And je ne sais quoi?
I gave it the full 2.
I gave it a 1.
You gave it a 1?
I had to dock a point for my own, like I said, there's things about it that bum me out, but ultimately it's really good. So wiggle room wise, give it an average.
Okay. So what does that total you up to, dude?
That puts me at 8 points, baby boy.
That puts me at 8 points as well.
Hey, tied it up.
We like the same. That's an animus definitely from both of your good buddies here.
Yeah, that's like as close to an animazing as you can get, man.
Yeah, it's a really, really good show, guys and gals. I highly recommend that y'all check it out. And
check
I'm
check
super
it
stoked
out.
to watch the second season of Mob Psycho 100,
which is currently ongoing.
Yeah, which is currently,
we're
and
like for sure going to cover that later.
We'll be covering it as soon as it finishes. So
yeah, good plan.
Be on the look for that. Now let's tell them about what we're doing next week.
Next
we're doing
week,
something a little interesting.
We're gonna mix it up a little bit because we've been talking. If you've been listening to the rambles, you've heard us talking about a lot of shows that are ongoing. Well, pretty much damn near all of them are just now or about to hit episode 6. So we're gonna do a little mid-season like mock-up.
Yeah.
We're not gonna go into like scores. We're not gonna do points or nothing. We're just gonna talk about them a little bit and give them like a, so far it's an Animus definitely something like that.
Yeah. We're essentially gonna tell you why you should be watching these or shouldn't. If we do one that's particularly bad, I don't know that we'll do that.
Yeah, maybe not. We'll find out.
We'll have a few in there, and then we'll tell you where we're putting them on our list of what is going on right now, where we would rank them, then it's just some suggestions, and it kind of gives us the opportunity to talk about some more of the stuff in depth than we don't really get to do in the. It's less episodic than it is in the ramble.
Yeah, man, we're kind of giving us a little one-shot recap.
I think we're both really enjoying this anime season.
There's a lot of good stuff on right now, man. Yeah, a lot of really good stuff. I'm
excited to talk about some of it and get it out there and let you guys know what we think, what you should be watching. And that's it, I think.
Yeah, man. Check out the links in the description.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the podcast, you're about to hit the ramble. If you're watching on YouTube, check out that video tomorrow or whenever.
Hey, be sure to subscribe to us if you can, if you're on YouTube.
Smash that
we passed
like
over
button.
1,000 subscribers. Oh, yeah, we did it. We did it, and it's thanks to y'all. We appreciate you.
I love you so much.
And I guess we'll sign it off here. We're about to head into the ramble, so be sure to be on the look tomorrow if you're on YouTube. for the Ramble. It'll be coming out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, and you're going to hear us say, and we're in the Ramble, and we're going to be...
Before we do, hey, good buddies, we hit 1,000 subscribers. I want to just lean in a little bit. Just come here for a second. That's for you.
I love you.
I love you.